And we're ready for basketball. And Jones wins the tip over to Matt Harpring.
And North Carolina opens in the man-to-man. Vince Carter matched up against Matt Harpring. That'll be a fun thing to watch.
Alvin Jones high. Jai stays back in the lane. Now Harpring. The shot clock at 15.
Bob, North Carolina, not a defensive team that really attacks you, but they play solidly in the half-court defense. And if you penetrate in there, they have some guys who are not afraid to get up and get after the shot.
Glover, an air ball. It's knocked out of bounds. Only 3 seconds on the shot clock for Georgia Tech. The head coach of the Yellow Jackets is Bobby Clemens. When he's faced the Tar Heels in this building, his record is 3-5 against them. Maddox can't dally, now puts it up and short, and it's a shot clock violation, so North Carolina will have it. Bill Guthridge is the head coach of the Tar Heels. A win today, and he'll tie an ACC record. The most wins in one season for a first-year head coach is 10. Press Maravich did it with the Wolfpack in 1965. Jerron Williams peeking from behind Jai.
Georgia Tech also opens in the man-to-man. Now Maddox is matched up inside against Antoine Jamison. Obviously, that's going to be a critical matchup.
Jai from 16. And the rebound into Travis Spivey's hands. Maddox shovels to Jones. Goes up strong and missed it. The rebound to Cota. Here come the Tar Heels 3-on-2. 4-on-2 with Jamison trailing. And Antoine takes it right to the hole.
Bob, it's just amazing what those guys can do. They don't really pressure you to create turnovers, but if you make a mistake on the offensive end, and Jones didn't catch the ball cleanly, if he catches it, he's got a dunk. And so they turn that mistake into a 4-on-1 fast break and an easy basket.
Harpring is fouled on his drive. Vince Carter with the personal.
We talked about the number of ways that Jamison can hurt you. Jamison trail in this break. It's a 4-on-2 break, and Cota, he knows Jamison's back there, and it's a good idea for Vince or for Ed Cota to always know where he can find Jamison.
Maddox softly through the net, and that ties the game at 2. When you're defending a guy like Jamison, is it best to maybe try to pick him up at the head of the key and do as best a job as you can of keeping him away from the basket, push him out as far as you can?
Without a question, Bob, you can't let him run the court and get right next to the basket. I think what you have to try to do against Jamison is Williams hits the three. Of course, Jamison isn't the only offensive weapon. What I think you have to try to do is you have to keep Jamison from getting layups and dunks. If he's going to beat you with jump shots, then you're just going to get beaten.
Maddox looking for some help, finds it in Spivey. Tar Heels leading 5-2.
Of course, that's much easier said than done. I can sit over here and say it. I have to try to do it.
Harpring for 3.
I think that's going to be critical for Georgia Tech if Harpring gets some of those to go. He's gone through some games, Bob, but he's struggled from the perimeter. I think he's going to have to score well today.
The foot of Cota and out of bounds.
North Carolina substitution number 13, Ademola Okoronkwo.
Activate the 6-man rotation just 2.5 minutes into the game. Shamon Williams will sit down. 5-2 North Carolina. We talked about Matt Harpring, Dan, his last 2 games at Duke and against Clemson. Just 2 for 9 from 3-point range. And he loses the handle on this one.
North Carolina trapping that time. Georgia Tech not handling.
Carter with the big slam. And again, it's the Tar Heels in transition, making Georgia Tech pay.
Bob, I don't know that saying this is a basket in transition does justice to this. Carter is going to take the ball and cock that thing about as far back as you can take it, and he dunked it through so hard the net gets tied up with the rim, and so they have to stop play to replace the net.
It is a high wire rack that we haven't seen on Tobacco Road in a long time. Spivey outside, Glover for 3. No, Jones fighting for position, had it blocked by Jai. Off the fingertips of Maddox, and Carolina's got it.
Bob, you're not going to get very many opportunities inside against North Carolina. Again, Jones takes a while to get control of the ball, and by the time he gets it and is ready to shoot it, Jai's over there for the block.
And Jai blocking more shots here of late. He had 4 at Wake Forest and then 3 in the Duke game Thursday. Okalaja. Jamison tips it, but Harpring wins the back.
Boy, North Carolina does a good job getting back on defense.
Around Jamison goes Harper. He scores and a foul.
Bob, Georgia Tech is a team that has some offensive capabilities. Carter goes for the steal, doesn't get it. Harper may have hopped there a little bit, but he gets the ball right to Jai and sticks it in the basket. That guy is as tough as you want a guy to be playing on the inside.
And he's an 81% free throw shooter. The soft touch from 15 makes it 7-5 North Carolina.
Here's Georgia Tech with the trap after the free throw.
Dakota calls the play. Guy high. Here's Carter off the screen. Another three-pointer for the Tar Heels. That was one of the amazing aspects of the Duke game, that they were able to ring up 97 points on the Blue Devils, and they hit only 2 threes. Carter leaps in for the steal. Ed Cota, offensive foul. Ran over Spivey, then Ed Cota. We have a timeout in Atlanta. North Carolina leading 10-5, 15:43 left. Back in Atlanta, well, they're still talking about that Duke game, and why not? North Carolina with such an impressive performance, Dan. For example, Ed Cota had 12 assists out of that 23 total, 3 more than the entire Duke team.
Well, that was as good a performance, as solid a performance as you're going to see in a big game. They just dominated that game. When Duke made a run at them, they just hit the extra gear and went by them again.
Maddox trying to be a little more aggressive, uses the glass with the left hand. He scores his second basket.
Jai has some problem with his elbow. He's got that wrap on his left elbow, and it looks like he hurt it in that situation.
Ryan Versticker comes off the Tar Heel bench. He'll come in.
Now Maddox does a nice job getting close to the basket. No help comes from the outside, and I did not really see what Jai did to that elbow. But he elects to stay in the game.
Versticker puts up his warm-up, goes back to the bench. Jamison short, but Okalaja rebound. Devon Williams inside Jamison, too long. Jai the offensive rebound.
Boy, you don't see Jamison miss for a minute like that.
Okalaja up and in. His first point for the game to make it 12-7 North Carolina. Maddox.
And to shoot the ball that quickly, these guys come right back in.
3-on-2, Williams.
What a great rebound, Okalaja.
Williams, down to the baseline. 12-7.
Check down the zone.
Williams. The rebound tip. Spivey has it. Deion Glover. Oh, wow. Wild shot. Here's Harper giving to Maddox. Tech will reset.
With great help by North Carolina. That's what you call transition defense, Bob. Everybody got back, defended the ball, and then built out to their men quickly, so there wasn't an easy shot opportunity.
Jack has missed his first 4 3-point attempts. And shot clock now under 10 as Maddox wheels in. And Jack got a piece of that one, but count the bucket.
Bob Maddox is not really, or has not been known in his career as a hard-nosed inside guy. A lot of his points coming from the perimeter, but that's a very impressive wheel to the basket. Maddox now 3 out of 4. The rest of the team only 1 of 7, but Maddox very aggressively taking it to the basket with the left hand, and Jai coming over to help picks up the goaltender. That's a nice move to get past Jamison on the inside. Tech stays in that zone, 2-3 zone.
Again. His final home game against the Tar Heels. He's coming out in impressive fashion. Jones.
Bob Jones has started to show some offensive aggressiveness, and if he can play effectively on the offensive end, this Georgia Tech team has a great deal of potential.
Jones had 10 points here against Clemson on Wednesday and had 11 rebounds.
jumper over the top, you're in trouble.
Glover moves in. And Jai fly swats that one, but it's another goaltender.
Well, they look pretty impressive, but they count as 2 points for the other guys. Harpring doing a great job moving without the ball. Carter makes him give it up. Glover takes it in. They keep the pressure on the defense by continuing to penetrate to the basket.
14-14, the Tar Heel lead is 1. Williams. And that is touched by Shimon as he was falling to the baseline. Now Georgia Tech can take the lead.
Alvin Jones, of course, a tremendous shot blocker on the inside, and that was really a break for Georgia Tech. Jones hit it. It bounced right off Williams out of there.
TJ Vines is coming in, and Jones catching a breath on the block. 4.6 a game for Alvin Jones.
North Carolina in the zone.
Maddox keeps it going, a 2-pointer. Monaco with 8.
Bobby said Georgia Tech's big three had to step up, and Maddox keeping up his end of the deal.
15-14 Tech. Just under 12 in the first half. Jai in traffic. Tigers. Jai makes it in.
Basket by Mashkar
His
Jai.
first bucket of the game. Tar Heels back on top by a point.
Now, Jai's not their biggest offensive threat, Bob, but you can't let him catch the ball that close to the basket.
TJ Vines.
Man-to-man for North Carolina.
The shot clock now at 16. Harpring for 3. Got it. And Harpring's first three-pointer. 18-16 Georgia Tech.
Bob, and what you've got to do if you're going to stay in the game with North Carolina is you've got to score consistently. North Carolina only shooting 43% right now, so you know they're going to put some runs together. You've got to get going and score through those runs, so they're not huge runs.
Coda tried to go up top, and injured on the play is Vince Carter.
That he landed on that elbow.
He and Harpring were battling underneath for position as Carter was trying to go for the alley-oop.
Well, I'm sure Harpring has seen that play enough in the scouting report, and he just maneuvered there and got him out of the way. He tries to come back up against Harpring.
Mark Davis at the check on him. You see him how he tries to jump back to get it.
The ball's thrown back behind him, and Harpring was maintaining his position there. I don't think you can say Harpring went underneath him. Harpring actually had that spot, and Carter jumped back into it. It was not a good pass. And when a guy can jump as high as Carter can jump, if you throw the ball poorly, you really put him at risk. Because he's going to go try to get it.
Georgia Tech substitution number 34, Jason.
Carter shaken up in the Duke game. Came right back with a tremendous dunk. Now Mark Davis looks over that elbow on the bench.
Bob, and you talked about their six-man rotation. The one thing that's true about the Tar Heels, they don't have a tremendous amount of depth, and so they certainly don't want to lose somebody like Vince Carter.
Maddox. Shy of the rebound. 10-minute mark of the first half. Shimon Williams. Coda.
Georgia Tech stays in the zone. And it's a zone that's fairly soft on the outside, Bob. They're real concerned about the inside play.
Floyd got a hand on it. Williams saves it. 10 seconds on the shot clock, and Vines with the reach-in foul. TJ's first. Stay tuned at halftime for Bell South. You call the play feature. A look at big plays from past ACC games. Brian Bursticker, the Virginia Beach freshman, is in. Jai is out. Deion Glover coming back for Georgia Tech. And Michael Maddox goes out after an impressive first 11 minutes.
Bob, that's interesting. You talk about the impressive first 11 minutes. We've only had 4 team fouls. 1 against Georgia Tech, 3 against North Carolina.
Jamison. And Dan, I think that's a good example of what you were talking about. Get him away from the basket.
Make him shoot over top.
Exactly. And then live with the results.
Oh, and he's going to get called for a foul for pushing against Jones.
First on Antoine.
Well, Bob, basically you live with the results if he misses, and you die with the results when he starts making them all. Because he's capable of making them, but I just think that you got to do that. You can't let him get all those dunks and layups.
18-16, Yellow Jackets. Okulaja, good hands to knock it away.
Boy, Okulaja, he is also an outstanding defensive player. And, you know, he's guarding Harpering, but he drifts off Harpering far enough to intercept the pass. Man to man.
And off the hands of Glover, into the hands of Shammond Williams. And the foul on Glover sends Shammond to the line.
Bob, it's interesting. Dion Glover has had such a solid 3-game run for Georgia Tech, but he really has looked a little nervous here. The ball just bounces right off his hands. He really hasn't gotten into the flow of the game yet, and he stops this play. Does a nice job, Bob, not getting the intentional foul call. You know, if he really blasts Williams in that particular situation, it's an intentional foul, but he stops the play without getting the intentional.
And Shammond putting home his 4th point of the game. Earlier this season, he hit 34 consecutive free throws. Versticker is out, and Vince Carter coming back into the game.
Well, now what Georgia Tech has to hope is that they haven't made Carter mad.
That ties the game at 18. 8:52 left. First half. Jason Floyd. 4-2. Floyd came back to life a little bit in that Clemson game. Hits his first shot today.
Amazing what confidence will do for you, Bob. He just looked like he felt like he could make that shot and just rose up and hit it.
Okulaja with the pump fake, the bank shot, and the 2 points.
Now, Floyd made a mistake there. I don't think you want to jump to try to block the outside shot of Okulaja.
And again, Okulaja with the hands to deflect it. Shammond lays it back, and Okulaja puts it in.
Bob, and again, a bad decision by Dion Glover. He took the ball into traffic and made a bad pass. 6 turnovers now for Georgia Tech. And when you turn it over, you better believe North Carolina is going to get down the other end and make you pay for it.
Harpering. Out to Glover. Missed the 3, and the rebound Dakota.
Boy,
ahead
really
of the
strong.
pack. Carter! Oh, my!
Glover is really, really struggling, and Carter, how quickly does he get out?
8 fast break points for the Tar Heels. North Carolina by 4. Harpering working hard, but having all that hard work slapped back in his face. Now Floyd for 3. Too long.
Bob, and we talked about whether North Carolina had the heart to come back after that big game against Duke. Well, they've shown a lot of heart to my way of thinking. Not a lot of emotion, but they're getting it done.
Spivey with the reach in. Travis with his first foul.
Georgia Tech foul on number 24, Michael Maddox. That's his
Maddox is trying to keep Jamison away from the basket, and he does. Jamison rising up for the jump shot, and I think in that situation, you don't want to reach in and foul Jamison going up. Get your hands up, make him shoot the ball over top.
Antoine Jamison with his 5th point of the game. They did give that foul to Maddox. Here's Harpering coming back into the game. Through his maturation in Chapel Hill, Antoine Jamison, a most improved free throw shooter. And you think back to his freshman year, and it was a struggle for him at the line. And the fact that he gets so many free throw opportunities, this is a big number indeed, 71%.
Well, he was to the free throw line twice now, so that's 183 free throw opportunities on the season. North Carolina has now thrown an 8-0 run against Georgia Tech. And Bob, to be honest with you, no problem with the Georgia Tech defense. It's on offense they haven't been able to get it done. North Carolina in the man-to-man. Look at how they drop down and help against Harpering. They're going to force somebody else to beat him, and Spivey answers that time.
Just his 10th three-point basket of the season. 26-23 Tar Heels, and Jamison floats home his 7th and 8th points.
North Carolina did a great job spreading the floor, Bob, and creating some space for Jamison down on the inside.
Here's Glover spinning and finger rolling it in.
Bob, that's what the Tech faithful have come to expect from Dion Glover. Nice move to the basket.
Carter. Oh, had to re-gear up and put it in again. Boy, that was another tremendous offensive move for Vince.
Well, you can hang in the air as long as he can.
Floyd. Now Maddox in the corner. Back to Glover. Somehow got through that.
That was an interesting little maneuver.
10 seconds on the shot clock. Maddox alone for two. Jai one-hands it.
Boy, another outstanding defensive series by North Carolina.
Cota behind the back in the lane. Carter, no, it's going to be Floyd to take it away.
Well, they've got a 5-on-2 if they hurry.
Glover fakes, passes, Maddox missed it. Michael again. 10 first half points for the Atlanta senior. 30-27 North Carolina.
Georgia Tech in the man-to-man. Spivey's matched up against Carter. That's where you got to go with the ball.
Williams pumps it in. Boy, the pressure they put on your offense to keep up with them is incredible.
But it's really offensive pressure is exactly what it is. Their offense just continues to score, and you better believe that that makes you feel like you got to get it done on your offensive end, and it's hard to score when you're pressing.
Maddox takes it away from Jai, takes the three and hits it.
No pressing on the part of Maddox today. He seems very, very comfortable with what's going on here.
In his career against North Carolina, Michael Maddox is shooting over 50% from three-point range. He nails his first three of this game.
And he just gets out beyond the perimeter, and he's got all day to shoot the ball. That's almost like a warm-up kind of shot. You're warming up before practice. You just stand there and shoot a couple to get loose.
North Carolina, and you come to expect it, up in the high 50s, and here's a three for Carter, his second three-pointer today.
Bob, you know, you watch these guys on television and you think, gee, they're pretty good, but when you see them in person with all the things that they can do.
Carter, perfect pickoff on the wing pass, takes it up to the goal, broke his fall with the grabbing the rim, and a foul on Spivey.
North Carolina executes in transition, Bob, about as well as anyone in the country. Great play by Carter to knock the ball down, and then he's taking a look at Spivey, and he decides he's just going to go right to the basket. But what concentration. Looking at the basket, hanging on so he doesn't fall down. Wow. You know, even when he misses, it looks impressive, Bob.
That's right. Vince now with 13, 3 steals. Brendan Haywood, the Greensboro freshman, is in. Mokhtar Jai goes out.
Bob, we talked about how one of the problems for Georgia Tech was to keep these North Carolina kids from having monster games, and it looks like Carter is on pace for one of those monster games.
Well, we showed you that 22-point effort against the Jackets in Chapel Hill. He was 9 of 14 from the field in that game. 36-30 Tar Heels.
Where they really, really need some offense and some good decision making from Glover. That's Cota just makes a great play.
Cota moves in, dumps it low. I think the Heels, Okalaja and Jamison were thinking shot instead of pass. 3 minutes to go in the half. Harpering on the wing to Spivey. And Jones is fouled. North Carolina leading by 6 here. Final minutes of the first half.
Bob, North Carolina has not missed a field goal attempt in 6.5 minutes. You talk about keeping the heat on.
That's on the front burner. 36-30. Inside, Maddox spins, but shut off. Glover penetrating.
Bob, see, when you get opportunities like that, you have to convert them, because if you don't, these guys come running the other way.
And Jamison banks it in. Biggest lead for the Tar Heels. I mean, it was just, I don't know if he so much shot it as he just guides it into the goal.
He catches it and shoots it all in one motion.
38-30, North Carolina. Harpring carries it up. Spivey in to score. 7 for Travis.
Now, we talked about Georgia Tech needing some contributions from other folks, and Spivey certainly has made that contribution with 7.
Shammond Williams. Cota. Harpring corrals it.
Boy, when they do miss, Bob, they're all over the rebound. An extremely impressive offensive display here in the first half. Man to man.
Harpring.
Oh, what a rebound.
Goes back up with it. Short. Maddox, a third crack. That's blocked by Jai. Out of bounds to Carolina. Well, the Tar Heels' interior defense, yes, they gave up a couple offensive rebounds here, but Jai was terrific with this block.
Well, Bob, Jai made 2 great plays. First of all, he just gets his hands up and doesn't foul Jones the first time, and then he does a great job not bending his body over top of Maddox, but using just his hand and blocking it out of bounds.
Now Jai at the offensive end with the hook, and he bangs it in. Jai with 4, 40-32. And Georgia Tech will take a 20-second timeout.
20-second timeout, Georgia Tech.
You just watch this ball club, North Carolina offensively. You see they're averaging 84, and you look up, and it's just another day at the office. They're shooting 60%, and they've got half their average with 40 seconds to go in the first half. It is an amazing offensive machine.
Bob, it really is, and they get such good shots. That's why you shoot 60%. Your shooting percentage is often a product of your shot selection, and North Carolina getting great shots.
Be sure to check out the ACC.com, the official website of the ACC, for the latest scores, interesting insights into the life in the ACC, and a chance to win tickets to the 1998 men's basketball tournament, compliments of Nations Bank. Final ticks here in the first half.
Bob, but for all that, Georgia Tech still has the opportunity here. They are in this game only down 8 points. The last thing they want is a missed shot or a turnover, and North Carolina running down and taking the double-digit lead at halftime. So Georgia Tech, I think this may be a critical play. They need a score here.
Spivey moves in, tipped by Carter, but Glover's got it. 4 to shoot, 3. Dion is going to have to hoist one, and it is an air ball. But Georgia Tech, as you mentioned, Dan, has some offensive firepower of their own, and they could really make this a game here in the second half.
Bob, by shooting 60% or more in the first half, North Carolina, that's the 10th half this season where they've shot 60% or better, so they keep the pressure on.
Cota broken up by Maddox, and Michael takes it away. Rainbows one to Harpring, behind the back recovery, and he missed the shot.
Bob, it looked okay until the final result, and if you're going to beat North Carolina, you've got to convert those kinds of opportunities. Georgia Tech back in the zone. The zone served them pretty well in the first half.
Carter. And a poke away. It's out of bounds. Carolina ball with 13 seconds. The Tar Heel lead is 6-40-34. Glover. But Harpring there, and another offensive rebound.
You know, Bob, that is the second time that Glover has taken a three-point shot and hit the other side of the backboard with it. That's a turnover.
So Cota gives the ball back to Georgia Tech. And the Yellow Jackets down 4.
And another offensive rebound. That's now 10 offensive rebounds for Georgia Tech. But North Carolina, that high-powered offense we're talking about, Bob, 3 possessions this half, 3 turnovers. Boy, that's great defensive help on the inside.
And the ball behind Spivey. It's out of bounds to North Carolina. Georgia Tech has, despite a 3-6 league record, played conference foes pretty well this year. Of those 6 defeats in the conference, 4 have come by a total of 13 points. Shimon bouncing inside. Jamison got banged by Spivey.
And Spivey now, it has something to say to Jamison. I don't know what that's all about. Good effort by Spivey, but again, fouling Jamison while he's trying to catch the ball or taking the ball up, I don't think is a good idea. He was trying to shoot it over Jones. That would appear to me to be challenge enough.
Something about tugging on the cape. Here's the first free throw, and Jamison with his 11th point today. He's had a double-double in each of his previous trips to Atlanta. 18 points, 17 rebounds here last year. And as a freshman, 14 points, 11 boards.
Bob, he is one of those guys that if in your offense you never threw him the ball, he would still score in double figures every game because he is simply so active.
Through the legs of Cota. Now Maddox for 3.
Boy, and has he stepped up today.
16 from Michael Maddox, and he's hit 7 of 12 from the field. 3-point game. Inside Jamison.
That's about as well as you can defense him, Bob.
Harpering. The rising 3. No good.
Boy, look at Jamison get up for the rebound. Now here they come.
Down the lane to Jamison, and he dunks it over Spivey.
How about that, huh? Young man gets a rebound at one end, throws it out, and just beats everybody down the court. Think about that turnaround. They just missed a 3, and then Jamison made them pay for it.
Harpering.
You think you have them back on their heels, and you don't.
So to speak. 44-39, North Carolina. Here's Deion Glover driving in and bouncing it right into Shimon Williams' hands. And
That's
Shimon left alone, puts it home.
Somebody ought to tell him that white line is the one he's looking for.
That equals North Carolina's biggest lead at 8.
And how fast was that, Bob?
Georgia Tech takes a 20-second timeout. With lightning-like swiftness, North Carolina can score a ton of points.
Wow.
Okalaja comes in.
You know, Bob, we're sitting here, and Georgia Tech has it within 4, and they have the ball, and suddenly the wheels come off.
Floyd hits the 3.
Well, that'll get them back on.
47-42, North Carolina. Jai, Carter. The 2-point attempt won't go. Jamison leaping in, and a foul on Jamison. Antoine's second.
Maddox did a real nice job getting good position against Jamison, forcing Jamison to come over his back. As the shot goes up, Maddox turns. Now Maddox has him on his back, and Maddox just moves his feet. Jamison thinks he's come around pretty well, but they call him for the foul.
Harpering.
Bob, and they really need Harpering to heat up.
And a milestone bucket it is. That puts Harpering over 2,000 career points at Georgia Tech. Floyd foul. Williams out to Cota. Tech a little more aggressive in the zone. In the middle to Jai. Bad pass. Tech ball. Bill Guthridge's team with a 3-point lead.
It's now 4 turnovers for North Carolina in the second half, Bob. And here, Georgia Tech, the door open.
And Harpering for 2.
Boy, and Maktar Jai barking at the officials again. I don't know what he said, but he just got warned.
7 straight Georgia Tech points.
Very active in the zone.
Shammond Williams, a big 3 out of the corner. That's his 3rd 3 today. It gives him 200 in his Tar Heel career. Harpering. Some daylight. Tipped by Jones, and a beauty. Quickly the Tar Heels attack. Williams.
Better guard him.
Good again. Shammond Williams with back-to-back 3s.
Okay, if they're going to defense him inside, they'll just go outside.
53-48 North Carolina. And we've got an offensive foul on Jones. Banging with Jai underneath.
Jones and Jai really going at one another. And Shammond Williams against that zone takes his time, makes sure he's got his feet set. A really nice looking 3-point shot. Silencing the crowd with that particular shot.
And moments after that, hit another 3. He's 4 of 5 from 3-point range today. Cota to Jamison.
Boy, Jamison moving without the ball. Just that little curl off that screen.
55-48 North Carolina.
Boy,
And
good
a take
defense.
away by Cota. And looks, finds Shammond Williams again. Yes! The clinician.
You cannot be serious. Bob, it was a 1-point game just a minute ago.
Georgia Tech had cut it to 3. And North Carolina just in waves comes at you offensively. They answer that with an 11-2 run, and Shammond Williams with his 5th 3-pointer of the game and his 4th in about 2 minutes.
Bob, he just finds the spot on the floor where he's got the open shot. And he keeps silencing the crowd. Crowd doesn't need to be told to be quiet. They know that they have to be when he hits those 3s.
So Shammond moving up, breaking a tie with Hubert Davis today, and Hubert still firing the 3s. We got the chance to see him last night in the 3-point shootout at NBA All-Star Saturday.
Bob, it was a 1-point game just a minute and 45 seconds ago. North Carolina has thrown up an 11-2 run in the last minute 45.
Harpering inside, and Williams rips that out of his hands. Shammond, great bounce pass. Okalaja too long, and a foul or out of bounds. Tar Heel turnover.
Well, it's important for Georgia Tech to regroup here, Bob. Again, we talked about the fact that Georgia Tech has some offensive firepower, and they simply have to make use of it.
But the point you made in the first half, and I'd like to revisit that, the pressure the Tar Heels put on your offense with their offense. Here you're battling everything you've got to cut it to 1, and then in just the blink of an eye, it's up to 10. What's that do to your mind?
Well, it makes you try to press a little harder and take tougher shots, and it also makes North Carolina's defense more effective because as guys are trying to make great plays, you've got North Carolina coming down double teaming, creating turnovers, and doing the kind of damage that we showed you on that last graphic.
58-50 Tar Heels. Carter, little long, Spivey the rebound. Just the 4th miss for North Carolina in their last 19 shots. Glover to the goal.
Oh my.
Nothing outside, but plenty inside for Deion Glover today.
Well, now here's the problem. You got to try to see if you can stop this offense a couple of times to give yourself a chance.
Carter. Jamison knocked away, but Shammond Williams has got it.
Oh, what a pass. How did he get that through there?
And a 3-second violation against North Carolina. And I'll submit to you, Dan, I don't think Georgia Tech is playing poorly at the defensive end.
Bob, I would agree with you 100%. Georgia Tech, they've had a good effort down there. Bobby Cremins, he's got, hey, what's going on here? Georgia Tech actually doing a pretty good job. But this is a juggernaut that they're dealing with.
58-52 North Carolina, approaching the 12-minute mark in the second half.
North Carolina now changes it up, goes to the zone.
Glover kicks it out. Floyd for three.
See, Bob, every time Georgia Tech has gotten a big shot like that, it seems like they haven't been able to convert it, and North Carolina comes down and answers.
You talk about being in a zone. Shammond Williams is in another consciousness. He has scored 14 in the second half. 21 for the game.
So Bob, they have so many guys on this team that can light you up for 25.
In the first game at Chapel Hill, 3 different Tar Heels had 20 or more.
That's a tough shot. That is a very tough shot. The North Carolina zone, last 2 times down the court, really disrupting the Georgia Tech offense.
Nice backdoor bounce. Okalaja smothered by Maddox, and he'll shoot. And Okalaja limping just a bit. Second foul on Maddox.
Georgia Tech foul on number 24, Michael Maddox. That's his second.
The announcers for this game selected and compensated by Raycom and Jefferson Pilot Sports, and the use of this broadcast without their express permission is prohibited. Okalaja, a 65% free throw shooter. Misses the first.
Haven't really had very many free throws in this game, Bob.
When they shoot it, they don't hold on to it long enough for you to get to them.
Well, they really do have a fluidity on offense that's really, really fun to watch.
Okalaja misses both and off Jai out of bounds. Timeout in Atlanta, 10 minutes and 52 seconds remaining. Talk about going over 2,000 points for Matt Harpring today, joining the likes of Mark Price in that category here on the Flats.
Bob, North Carolina goes back to the man-to-man. They've done a nice job just changing looks every now and again.
Glover, baseline, up top to Maddox. And Michael Maddox having a tremendous day with his 20th point.
Bob, and at 6 points, Georgia Tech is very much in this basketball game, shooting extremely well in the second half. And they go back to the man-to-man as well.
Williams, 5 of 5 this half. Another one? Yes, sir.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes, sir. 24 for Shammond. That's his 5th three-pointer in the second half. He's got 6 for the game.
6 for 7 from beyond the arc, Bob. Remember we talked about Georgia Tech having to keep these guys from monster games? Well, I think at least one of them is having one. Carter in the first half had that tremendous first half with 13 points.
Jamison back in for Jai. A big game in a series of big games against Georgia Tech in Chapel Hill. Maddox, who really struggled shooting the ball in Chapel Hill, not so today.
Bob, he's keeping pace. He's keeping Georgia Tech in the game. 10 of 15 from the field.
This is just incredible. 65-57.
Bob, they really don't hang on to the ball long enough for you to settle into any kind of defensive position. Williams discussed with himself. Thought he might have had that ball from Vines.
Tipped into Okalaja's hands. Cota leads a 4-on-2. Jamison angles it up around Glover. The ability to create once airborne, an amazing talent of Jamison. 17 fast break points for the Tar Heels, and Georgia Tech takes a timeout. He's going to hate to say goodbye to this joint. 67-57 North Carolina. Jones, short, Glover slam.
Man-to-man defense. Jamison asking for the ball. He's matched up against Glover inside.
Okulaja short with the left hand, Harpring the rebound. His 8th board of the game. Spivey trying to give it back to him. Picks it up, fires, misses. Rebound, Carter falling out of bounds. Saves it and gives it to Cota.
Georgia Tech in the man-to-man.
Nice reach in by Glover, but Williams controls. Spivey picks up the Carolina turnover. 2-on-1. Spivey through Glover's hands. He saves it. Kicked out of bounds by Carter.
Bob, Georgia Tech with an opportunity, and it's really, really difficult. They didn't convert. Bobby Cremins telling them, hey, bounce pass.
7:21 left. North Carolina leading by 8.
Now, Bob, they obviously didn't call it a kick because they haven't reset the shot clock. Bounced off his leg, but that doesn't, in and of itself, make it a kick. It has to be an intentional kick.
Harpring.
And Antoine Jamison just exploded to the basket. I think he had some help. He got pushed a little bit.
And now North Carolina will take a 20-second timeout.
Well, Bob, they have closed to within 6 a couple times here in the last few minutes, but haven't been able to draw any closer. Okulaja goes for the steal, and as a result, Harpring is open for the shot. And Jones, a little love tap there, sends Jamison flying out of bounds.
The thing about North Carolina, they tease you. You get within 2 or 3, and then here comes the tidal wave. Matt Harpring today with 14.
Substitution number 4, left guard Jai.
14 points, 8 boards, and working very, very hard.
Cota penetrating. Out of bounds to Georgia Tech.
Bob, that is a very, very tough matchup as you see Bill Guthridge exhorting his troops for Glover. I don't know that there's anybody really in the league that can stop Cota from penetrating. Back to the man-to-man.
Harpring. Jai, good D. Picked up by Jones. Taken away. And there was a kicked ball, I believe. Good scramble, and that'll give it back to Tech with a new clock.
Bob, these teams playing with a great deal of enthusiasm and intensity right at the moment. Jones coming up with it out of there, and that's a good call. Jamison did kick the ball, almost got away with it.
67-61 Tar Heels.
So on the intentional kick, the shot clock does reset. And here's another one of those points. They're back to within 6 again. Can they make a basket? They have not done so to cut into that 6-point lead in the last couple of opportunities that they've possessed.
Maddox, he's been big all day. Feeds underneath, Glover. Jones, a follow dunk. Some serious elevation on that one. 67-63.
A serious expression on that young man's face right there.
Cota spins inside Jamison.
Oh, my!
20 for Jamison. Just an indescribable offensive weapon underneath.
Bob, he did such a great job getting position. He was just not going to be denied on that particular play.
Jones backs in, stripped by Carter, bounced out to Maddox for 3. Spivey saves it. Nope,
No, he
couldn't
stepped
do
on
it.
the line.
Out of bounds to Carolina.
Georgia Tech has done a tremendous job on the offensive boards today. Glover not able to get the shot to go, but he drew the defense, got rid of Jamison, and as a result, Jones is there.
Tech living with the second chance points. Jamison up and off this time. Harpring the rebound. Jones goes down. Jamison down. Both now getting to their feet. As Harpring has it go off his foot, trying to keep it away from Williams. Now Spivey crosses to Maddox. Michael faking.
How do you draw that one up in the playbook?
Hey, it's not over yet. Harpring for three. Inside Glover. Now you can put it on paper.
No, you can't.
4-point game. Just when you think you might have a shot, Jamison comes right back to Burnham.
Bob, and this is what we talked about with North Carolina. They're keeping the pressure on with their offense. Every time they come down to score, that makes it all the more important that Georgia Tech score just to stay close.
Maddox draws Jamison. Spin, shut off, Spivey. Inside to Jones. And Cota, look at him come back to knock it free. Harpring fouled on his drive. Boy, the Tar Heel guards coming down from the top when that ball goes into the post do a terrific job.
Bob, we've been talking an awful lot about the North Carolina offense and have not meant to overlook the North Carolina defense, but they do a solid job on the defensive end, actually #2 in the conference in field goal percentage defense, so opponents have a difficult time against North Carolina. Now Harpring with an opportunity from the line.
A hush over the sellout crowd as Harpring puts home his 15th point of the game. Okalaja comes back for Williams.
Bob, in the diversity of the North Carolina weapons, you know, Carter early, Williams, then Jamison.
Harpring was 16, and Georgia Tech has cut it to 4. 3:56 left in Atlanta. Bill Guthrie brings the.
Well, Bob, once again, Georgia Tech has cut it to 4. North Carolina has responded every time previously.
Cota.
Bob, North Carolina is shooting 67% from the field in this half, and yet they've been outscored.
Okalaja. Harpring trying to front Jamison. Tipped out to Carter for 3. Rebound Jive.
Big rebound.
Cota has it with 3:20 left. Carolina leading by 4, 71-67.
Georgia Tech now trying to match up out of the zone, Bob. The guy they're trying to find is Jamison, obviously.
Okalaja. Boy, Carter just got racked as he went through the lane. Jones really gave him a pop.
Well, there's no free throws since that's only team foul number 5.
Floyd in, and that man, Shammond Williams, having a 24-point day, matching his season high in points. He also had 24 at Clemson. His career high is 26, so that's well within range.
Well, against the zone, they have their best offensive team in the game. Boy, Carter thought he was open for a lob, Bob. He took that one big step down the lane, ready to go up, and they didn't see him. That foul, though, while there's no free throws, it gives the Tar Heels another 35 seconds.
Only 2 team fouls on North Carolina this half. Williams penetrating. Grabbing it and scoring it is Carter.
Bob, they kept the ball for a minute, and they score, and now it's a 6-point game again, and Georgia Tech, as well as they've played offensively in the second half, can't seem to get any closer than 4. Now the heat's on them once again.
And a defensive play by Carter, outletting down the floor. Okalaja the James. Boy, do they make you pay. 75-67. Timeout Georgia Tech with 2:03 left. The timeout situation, Tar Heels have 2 fulls and a 20. Tech is out of timeouts. And Carolina with fouls to give, if that comes into play. 2:03 left. North Carolina 75 and Georgia Tech 67.
And it's vitally important that Georgia Tech score and then prevent North Carolina from scoring, which is something that they've been unable to combine those two facets frequently today.
Glover pushes it up and in. Deion Glover has not shot the ball overall today very well. He was 6 of 15 before that shot, but now has come back to hit and pull Tech within 6. Foul on Spivey.
Well, again, that's still not a shooting foul, and it's a very tough assignment now for Georgia Tech, particularly for Glover and Spivey, those young freshmen, trying to defend him in the backcourt. Bill Guthridge is going to take a 20-second timeout because Cota and Williams, fine ball handlers, and they're going to keep the ball in the hands of the guys who shoot free throws pretty well. So this is a tall order now for Georgia Tech.
Coming up on Tuesday night, we've got ACC action for you from Cameron Indoor Stadium as the Duke Blue Devils play host to the Florida State Seminoles. Game time is 9 p.m. Eastern Time. You can check your local listings for the station in your area. When North Carolina defeated Duke on Thursday by 97-73, it was the third largest margin of victory in a 2-versus-1 matchup. And as impressive as they were today, and a task on the road, Jamison fouled by Harpring, because this is not an easy place to play. And you mentioned it earlier, Dan, about the emotions of coming off that Duke game in here today. It's been a very businesslike effort, I think, for the Tar Heels.
Bob, that is a really good term. Business-like, workmanlike. The Tar Heels have just come out here today and taken care of business. I don't care how talented you are, with the emotional energy that they spent against Duke. First of all, it's not only just number one, number two, but I think Duke Carolina, to these young men and to the young men from Carolina, may be that important every year. But particularly with the stakes that were so high on Thursday, you got to come in here wondering if they would have a letdown, and obviously they weren't as emotionally pent up as they were before the Duke game. They didn't play with quite the emotion, anywhere near the emotion, but nonetheless, Maddox hits it. That's a 2. The Tar Heels have still thus far gotten it done.
And a foul with 1:21 left.
And see, here you have the problem with Cota and Williams in the game to handle the ball. Those are the guys who are going to be in the position where they're going to get fouled, and they're outstanding free throw shooters.
After watching North Carolina today, Dan, and this incredible offensive arsenal, are you forced to take the Princeton route to slow these guys down?
Bob, I don't think that there are many teams in the country who can do that. That's Princeton's game. That's what they do. And if you try to adjust your game for these guys, then I think you're playing right into their hands. And to Georgia Tech's credit today, Georgia Tech has come out and tried to play. Georgia Tech has tried to match offense with North Carolina, and they just simply haven't been able to do it. When they've had opportunities, when they've had that one basket that may have turned things around, they haven't been able to convert it.
Short with the 3, Alvin Jones.
Oh, he's got to shoot the ball.
Now Maddox, he's outside the ring, but now they go inside to Glover. That's blocked by Jamison. Harpring scores and a foul. With a minute to go. 78-73.
Scrambling around are the Yellow Jackets. Here's Glover missing the shot, but once again, another offensive rebound. Georgia Tech has done a great job scoring on those second chance opportunities. Glover gets it in there. Why do teams shoot so poorly against North Carolina? Well, it's hard to get the ball all the way to the basket without getting it blocked.
Matt Harpring with his 12th double-double of the season. Finishes off the three-point play.
And what's going on there? Well, they're back to within 4. They got a shot. And that's the guy that got a foul right there. Not him, the other one.
Well, Spivey will put Jamison at the line. 4 fouls on Travis.
Now you're looking for guys to foul. Vince Carter had the ball for a couple of beats and was able to get it to Jamison, and I think that you'd rather foul Carter than Jamison, but not really a whole lot to choose from right there. Certainly you want to keep Cota and Williams away from the line, but that's going to be hard as they're going to handle the ball a lot.
Floyd, three-point shot in, Jones out.
Now this is still a 1-and-1 opportunity, and if he misses here, keep in mind, at 55.7, it's only a 4-point game.
Front end is huge.
It's short. Oh, and they fouled Harper.
So now Tech will go to the line.
No, they won't.
No, they won't. Excuse me. It's only the fourth team foul on North Carolina. .54 left.
Well, see, Bob, that at the end of the game, being in that foul situation, you can afford to be aggressive. Okalaja really doesn't lose anything right there, going over Harpering's back trying to get that ball.
Spivey. And a reach in, and again, Tech ball out of bounds, and they've burned about 8 seconds of time on the clock.
Bob, no harm done. Cota, again, can afford to be very, very aggressive. Doesn't have to worry about whether or not he commits the foul.
That rebound for Harpering after the Jamison miss at the front end of the 1-and-1. The 900th career rebound for Matt. Powers it up. Missed it. Rebound. Glover. Tip. No. Jamison the rebound.
And now that's team foul number 10, so he'll get 2, Bob. But that's what we're talking about. That 4-point barrier seems to be an unbreachable wall. Georgia Tech just can't get the conversion when they get to within 4. Tough shot by Harpering, almost looking for the foul right there, but here's Glover with the rebound, too far under the basket, can't spin it up there, and Jamison picks up the rebound and the foul.
Now Jamison, who's missed his last 2 free throws, has 2 to shoot. 40.9 left. His 24th point of the game.
Bob, now if he converts this one, you're obviously in a situation, if you're Georgia Tech, where you got to start thinking about the 3 almost exclusively.
Short. Maddox the rebound.
All right, you don't need the 3 now, but whatever you do, you got to get it done quickly.
Glover taking it right to the bucket, and the foul on Williams. He's going up to shoot, so Glover will go to the line.
Bob, Glover is a guy who continues to try to make plays. He's a young man who plays with a great deal of confidence. When he gets the ball in this situation, he's not out there looking for Harpering or Maddox. He's looking to try to make the play himself, and he got around Williams just far enough to be able to get his shot attempt going, and so he's going to get 2 shots. And they are obviously critical.
A 58% foul shooter. In and out, back in. 13 for Dion.
Bobby Kremen's going to get Jones up to report to the scorer's table. So if the shot goes, Georgia Tech will be able to set the defense.
And Georgia Tech does not have a timeout left. Glover!
Oh,
incredible! He goes up and gets fouled.
He was in there awfully high and awfully fast.
Now Glover, and of course nobody knows the miss quicker than the shooter.
Well, all kinds of things going on down inside, but Glover, he got in there awfully fast, Bob. Well, here we are at the 4-point barrier again.
And they say a 2-shot foul for Glover.
And they finally broken the barrier.
79-76.
Bill Guthridge wants a 20-second timeout if the ball goes in the basket.
He's got it.
Except he doesn't have any 20s left, so I think they'll have to take a full.
With 32.8, North Carolina's got the basketball. They've got 1 timeout at their disposal, and they're going to have to make another play to win this game.
Well, now if you're Georgia Tech, you'd like to do everything you can possibly do to keep the ball from being passed in to either Williams or Cota.
Okalaja just beats the...
Now if you're Georgia Tech, you'd like to do everything you can possibly do to keep the ball from being passed in to either Williams or Cota.
Okalaja just beats the 5-second count. Here's Cota through traffic. 27-26. And Cota's foul. Ed Cota has not scored in this game today.
That's hard to believe.
And this will be his first opportunity at the line. He is an 82% foul shooter, which shows you that's 4th best in the ACC.
He'll have 2. Nothing to it, huh?
80-77. Floyd in, Jones out, the offensive-defensive change.
Well, now, of course, all important for Georgia Tech is the rebound if he happens to miss this shot. But whether he misses it or makes it, Georgia Tech is going to need to score.
He missed it. Now Tech has a chance to tie with a 3.
Well, they don't necessarily need the 3, Bob.
Glover outside Maddox to tie it. 15 seconds. 13-12. Carolina has a timeout if they choose. Cota brings it up. The game tied at 80.
They're not going to call timeout, Bob. Bill Guthrie's telling them play.
Cota's runner is no good. Maddox the rebound, and we are going to go to overtime. In 1989, Dennis Scott hit a 3-pointer from the corner at the end to win it for Georgia Tech. Today, it's Michael Maddox to tie it.
Bob, this is incredible. Glover makes a great play to get Maddox the ball. Okalaja runs at him, but Maddox has been hot all day. Wow.
An incredible finish in Atlanta, and we're going. And Tech wins the tip. Glover out of bounds. Carolina ball. For the second time this season, North Carolina has come into the state of Georgia, and they go into overtime. They played an OT game in Athens against the Georgia Bulldogs in December. They're in overtime in Atlanta today.
Bob, that game against Georgia a little bit different. North Carolina came back from being way down. In this game, they were in control the entire way, and Georgia Tech somehow found a way to tie the game at the end.
Carter, tight ropes. No, it's out of bounds. Georgia Tech ball.
Bill Guthridge having something to say to the officials over there. He doesn't have a lot to say. Just lets his guys go out there and play, and it's a whole lot more than just rolling the ball out. He's done a nice job putting this offensive machine together. Now Harpering and Carter really battling. Nobody in any kind of foul trouble.
Harpering puts Georgia Tech on top with a 3-pointer.
You know, Bob, Shammond Williams has not attempted a shot in this game since the 10-minute mark of the second half. After that huge hot streak, he really hadn't fired away.
Tech by 3.
Tech in the zone.
Last time Tech was in front was 20-18, and it bangs in. Jamison, 26 now. Dan, we talked earlier about the big 3 for Tech having to score big. Harpering, Maddox, and Glover averaging 53 combined this season. They've got 65 today and counting. Harpering trying to do it again. No, it's a kick out to Maddox. He's got 31. 86-82 Tech. Williams. Inside, Jamison ran into Jones, but there's Jai to put it in. 86-84 Georgia Tech.
Man-to-man for North Carolina. That's good. They ought to guard him.
And away by Cota. An incredible steal. 3-on-3, Williams faking. Driving. Now he's in trouble. And Spivey saves it and gets a timeout.
But that's their only timeout, Bob. They had no timeouts at the end of regulation. Each team gets one in the overtime, and so that is the last timeout for Georgia Tech.
2:44 left. Tech with the ball and a 2-point lead.
And in overtime, Georgia Tech with the 2-point lead, and Matt Harpring, one of the hardest workers you'll see. Vince Carter, pretty good defense on the inside, so Harpring says, okay, I'll go outside. He drills the three-point basket, then he's hit the three from out there, so you got to respect him. This time he drives to the basket. Maddox on the outside drills it, and if Georgia Tech's going to make a three every time down, it's going to be hard for North Carolina to catch up.
Harpring today, 22 points, 12 rebounds. A lifetime 17.6 score against North Carolina. The 31 from Maddox today, the most by any Tech player since James Forrest back in 1994.
And here North Carolina goes to the zone. And they have actually had pretty good success defensively with this zone. Georgia Tech was really in a groove, and now they've made the Yellow Jackets sort of slow down.
Loose on the wing. And Cota, it's out of bounds, but the clock won't change. It's down to 13 seconds.
Boy, that's a good defensive maneuver to switch the defense like that. Georgia Tech has actually struggled at times against the North Carolina zone, and they were playing so very well against the North Carolina man-to-man.
Harpring will put it in.
There's the shot clock.
Harpring, one-on-one. Loose. And it's going to be picked up by Carter for the slam! 86-86 with 2 minutes to go.
What a play.
Harpring, Glover on the cut. Maddox, can he keep it going? It got blocked that time. Rebound to Williams.
And Georgia Tech better get down the court.
And they're going to call a foul on Harpring.
Bob, I think he was actually trying to get out of the way that time. Williams did a nice job staying in front and forcing the foul.
86-86. The shot clock was draining. Harpring, the ball was pried free.
Harpring, I think, actually thought that they were going to call a kick ball against Carter, and he didn't get after it very quickly, and as a result, Carter beats him to it and gets the dunk.
Now Shammond Williams, the leading free throw shooter in conference play at 92%. And that teetered on the brink, but went in.
Well, Bob, the inability to make free throws down the stretch was really the North Carolina downfall and led to the game going into overtime.
Carolina by one, 87-86. And this one, nothing but net.
And now the Yellow Jackets, Bob, faced with a task that they faced the entire afternoon, and that is battling back from behind.
Shammond Williams with a 28-point day. That's a new career high for the Greenville, South Carolina senior.
Now the problem now for Georgia Tech is to see if they can get some sort of an offensive concept going against this zone.
Jason Floyd. Harpring takes it in his own hands.
That's a good concept.
24 for Matt, ties it at 88.
Boy, a good screen got him open.
The Thriller Dome living up to its name today. 1:20 left at OT and tied. Carolina has 2 timeouts.
Georgia Tech in the zone.
Loose ball picked up by Glover. Dion moves in and he scores. Tech 90-88.
Bob, he spun right back into Antoine Jamison, but scored anyway.
Williams for 3. Rebound Tech. Maddox has it.
Well, Bob, you don't want to get conservative now. There's a 9-second difference between the shot clock and the game clock.
Glover gets rid of it to Maddox. Steps through to Harpring. Cross court to Glover.
They need another basket, Bob.
Now Harpring has it. 8-7 on the clock. Maddox, he's been good all day. Long with this one. Rebound to Carter. They
got a layup.
Shammond Williams all the way. Missed it. No basket. Foul on Maddox. It's incredible how North Carolina can get out and run on you, regardless of the pressure of overtime, regardless of the pressure of the score.
Bob, this is just, I mean, this is reaction. You train yourself and you can react. It doesn't matter what the situation is. Maddox does a great job to prevent the basket. Disaster for Georgia Tech. Would have been a basket and a foul.
Shaman with 2 throws to tie it. 6.6 left in the first overtime.
And Georgia Tech has no timeouts. Bob, and as he missed that layup, Phil Ford over on the North Carolina bench went up in the air, went down on his knees, and crawled back to the North Carolina bench. Yeah, they're not very excitable over there. All those guys sitting on that bench are intense competitors.
This to tie the game.
Well, now, Bob, if he makes this and you're Georgia Tech, you got to beware of the turnover trying to get it in quickly.
Tied at 90. Williams with 30. Here comes Harpring. Over to Glover. 3 seconds to the kick. Floyd to win it. Tip! Doesn't count. No basket. We're going to double overtime. Jason Floyd out of the corner, missed it. The ball was tipped in, but it came after the buzzer. Rick Hartzell to toss it.
Well, Bob, that overtime was about as entertaining a 5 minutes as I think I've seen this year.
Jamison blocked, got it back, put it in. 28 for Antoine Jamison.
Well, now North Carolina started out the first overtime behind because Georgia Tech was able to draw first blood.
Harpring into Jones, out to Spivey.
Boy, Harpring wants the ball.
He'll shoot 2. I mean, the great players want it down the stretch, and not only Matt Harpring today, but how about the performance of Michael Maddox? Taking the big shot to tie it at the end of regulation, a big 3 in the first overtime, and Harpring doing what we've become accustomed to in the ACC. His 25th point. And he's hit all 5 of his free throws. Tie game.
Now Georgia Tech showing some pressure. Now they back off.
The 8th tie of the game. Okalaja.
Georgia Tech playing zone.
Williams into the lane. Put it in.
Oh, what a shot by Williams up over Jones.
32 for Shaman. Carolina back in front by 2. Spivey can flag it down. Goes to Harpring. He's behind the line. Inside to Jones, and he's hammered by Jamison. Now you've got a 58% foul shooter going to the line, and 4 fouls on Antoine.
Bob, Shaman Williams has done such a fine job in this game from beyond the 3-point arc. Maddox playing him out there, and Williams just taking the ball right past, and that's over. The best shot blocker in the ACC with the left hand. Jones does a great job getting position inside against Jamison, and you're right, Bob. For the first time since we began the overtime, we got a poor free throw shooter at the line.
Carolina by 2.
Now 4 fouls on Jamison, Bob. So we said a little while ago, nobody really in serious foul trouble. Well, Jamison has just entered that phase.
Jones comes back to get the second one. 94-93 Tar Heels. Maddox, it's like a trap coming near midcourt. Now they're going to spread it to 3-quarter with Cota. They cross to Williams. Boy, it's a tough team to press. Okalaja. Williams, the jumper, short, and Harpring the rebound.
Bob, Okalaja just didn't handle that pass. It looked like Williams was dumping it to him for an easy layup.
94-93. Tech can take the lead with a basket here. And they dial 15. Tip up off Maddox. Gets it again. Harpring again. What a battle.
Offensive rebounds. What a tremendous effort by Georgia Tech.
Williams.
Oh my!
A three-pointer. Incredible. His 7th three-pointer of the game. Carolina by 2, 97-95.
Carolina in that zone.
Glover's runner is short. And the rebound to Carolina.
And here they come. That was a bad decision by Glover, Bob.
97-95. Jamison short. He'll shoot 2 with 2:25 left. Maddox with his 4th foul.
Georgia Tech foul at number 24.
Bob, you want so badly when you're in a game like this to make the big plays. And Glover, I think that time just wanted it a little too badly. Tried to penetrate through that zone and was not really very successful. North Carolina played him pretty well, and the ball was a very bad shot. And now Jones has to go out of the game because he's bleeding, so they're going to try to get him taped up just as quickly as they can. Now that he's gone out, though, he has to be out for at least 1 tick of the clock.
Jamison 6 of 9, now 7 of 10 at the line. That puts Carolina up by 3. 98-95. Jamison ready again. And missed it. Tech down 3.
Well, Bob, I think a very, very important offensive possession for Georgia Tech.
Michael Maddox with a career day going, handling it. Shot clock at 20 as Spivey goes to work. Floyd. Inside to Harpring. Blocked by Carter. Incredible block. Carolina's got it up by 3 and under 2 to play. Cota on the bounce to Carter. Jammed up but travel.
And he hurt his ankle, Bob.
Vince Carter gets to his feet. And we have a timeout in Atlanta. 1:54 left in the second overtime. Carolina by 3. Second OT in Atlanta.
North Carolina stays in the zone.
In the middle it goes to Harpring. Back out to Glover for 3. Rebound Carolina. Boy, Jamison was all alone at the other end.
Well, Williams was a little more concerned about getting possession of the ball, Bob, and that is the correct decision in that situation.
Glover has missed all 7 of his three-point attempts. Harpring now out on Carter.
Now, Georgia Tech, Bob, in this situation does not need to foul, but they must play tough defense. This would be a big basket if North Carolina can get it. Shot clock at 10.
98-95. Williams, his 8th three-pointer.
You cannot be serious.
38 for Shammond Williams, unconscious. 101-95. Glover kicks it back. Maddox for 3. Rebound Harpring into the alley. And it drops for him. And Georgia Tech uses its final timeout with 46.5. The thing about North Carolina, they keep scoring. Shammond Williams with a new career high of 8 threes in a game has just been incredible in the second half. Now, they went away from him, not certainly by design, but he didn't have that many touches the last 10 minutes of the second half. But boy, has he come on strong here in this second overtime.
And naturally, Bob, our Amico play of the game is as well as it ought to be, as Shammond Williams' three-point basket, and that may be a backbreaker right there. The shot clock running down to put him up 6. Williams just rises up. That's almost an NBA three once again. Bob, I think he went through that one stretch where he scored just about every time he touched the ball. And then, yeah, he didn't touch the ball in the last 10 minutes of regulation, but I think he had to, like, catch his breath. And unfortunately, he's got his second win now.
Got ice down that elbow.
Wow.
101-97 Carolina. Harpering's 30 today has tied a career high. Unbelievable game with 46.5 left. Tar Heels 101 and Georgia Tech 97. And with this many points being scored in a second overtime game, a lot of records are falling.
Bob, Shammond Williams, 38 points, is the most scored by a Carolina player in 10 years. Kenny Smith had 41 against Clemson in 1987.
Carolina ball, 46.5 to play. Some pressure. Okulaja. Oh, a near steal by Jones, but Jamison has
They need to foul him.
And they do. Harpering with his 4th.
And Bob, interestingly enough, this is where North Carolina didn't salt it away at the end of regulation time. Georgia Tech was able to foul, and it was Antoine Jamison missing 3 of 4 free throws that opened the door for Georgia Tech. Jamison 7 of 11. He's got 2 right now.
After Jamison missed it, Maddox hit a 3 to send it into the first overtime. His 29th point of the game. Check it, his 30th point. Floyd is in. Jones is out.
Now Georgia Tech obviously looking for some offense down on the other end.
102-97.
All right, well, Georgia Tech now down 6 with 43.5 left, Bob. They've almost got to go for the three-pointer and get it quickly.
Spivey to Glover. He penetrates, goes up, and rolls it in.
They have no timeouts.
103-99, and the foul on Glover. That will put Shammond at the line. Williams with 38 today. And
Bob,
he'll step back up with 31.2.
Good execution by North Carolina, getting the ball into the hands of Williams, their best free throw shooter. And then Williams did a nice job forcing the foul to come. He knows he's got time is on his side. He doesn't really have to worry about the 10-second violation. They've got to come and get him. You know, he's 9 for 9 from the free throw line, but he's actually hit the rim a couple of times.
He's so good, it's like you got to handicap it. 104-99. A lot of iron, but it drops. 40 for Shammond. 105-99 Tar Heels. Glover, Spivey.
Don't have time to be throwing it around.
And it's Cota with a tip away. Now Glover steps out. Here's Floyd for 3. Missed it. Rebound Maddox. He'll go up and gets fouled with 14.1.
Well, Bob, you said it. North Carolina just keeps scoring. And if you're going to hang with them, you have to just keep scoring. And Bobby Kremen's troops have not been able to get the ball to go down in the second overtime. They have had some shots, but they have not been able to convert them.
First time at the line for Maddox today, and he missed it. And he'd been shooting 85% at the line in ACC games. Banks it in.
Bob, I think he was trying to miss it.
Yep, I believe you're right. Jones and Vines come in. North Carolina has shot 64% from the floor today. Maddox will send Williams back to the line. And for Michael Maddox, he has fouled out of the game. And a standing ovation for Michael Maddox, and why not? Dan, you mentioned it earlier, and you're right on it. He had to step up today, and boy, did he ever step up.
32 points, 12 rebounds. And Bob, his tip at the end of the first overtime, just a tad late, and the outcome would be a little different.
41 for Shaman. And Carolina, after the impressive win over Duke, is going to escape Atlanta with a win and move to #1 in the country. Vines. Jamison the rebound, 4 seconds, 3, stolen by Vines. He'll take the 3 at the buzzer and miss it, and the Tar Heels have escaped. What a game. Bill Guthridge and Bobby Crummin shake hands after 2 overtimes. North Carolina wins it 1-0.